deep within this mysterious forest is none other than me. I'm back, Dr. Kendo, and you're watching the Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor Commentaries. This is basically where I create something in the Scribblenauts Unlimited Object Editor, of course, but it's based on what you guys request. So, subscribers, I basically just listen to what you ask for each week, and then I see what's most popular as determined by basically just the most amount of different people requesting it. So, starting off with Jeff Luke and painting it accordingly, as you see. Unfortunately, you can see kind of an undershirt on Jeff Luke's body right there, the torso. And then there's like a piece that looks like it should be his skin kind of up at the top, but unfortunately it just colors it all one color. So normally I would want that to be flesh tone color, but we're making a very pale stadium vendor head right here. This could be none other than a beloved pale main character of the show Gravity Falls. This would be Dipper Pines. And we're actually going to create all of the kind of the main cast, or at least the main cast as I see it, using Mix or Mox. You can use either one. Use their back arm right there. That's going to be the arm for him. Paint that stadium vendor's hair back there a little bit brown colored accordingly. 2 white circles for the big eyes, a dot for the nose that's going to be a little bit darker flesh colored because I know that Dipper has his, he's got a different colored nose basically compared to the rest of his skin. And the stadium vendor's hat is kind of what we're messing with now. The good thing about this hat is it's not like when you just type in hat in Scribblenauts. If you type that in, it actually all is one color. You know, it looks like it would be different colors, but unfortunately when you're trying to change the color of just hat, it changes the entire thing. So this way, with the stadium vendor, we actually get to do the triple colored, or 2 different colors, I guess. Deuce, Maxwell's brother, D-U-C-E, is going to be the legs for Dipper right here, and it's because he's got the shorts on and he's got some socks. And we'll try to go with a different shoe, so we won't stick with that. How about none other than Utapam? This is a long-running joke for viewers of mine who, I guess, are regulars or whatever. They recognize the Utapam. It's apparently pronounced Utapam, but sometimes I say Utapam because it sounds funny. You could get the same result by typing in like tortilla or naan, as in naan bread. Utapam just sounds hilarious, and so we're gonna use that for his shoes as well as for his mouth up here. I've typed in berry to be the little flaps in front of the shoes, and the letter I right here is not only gonna be Dipper's teeth, but it's also gonna be the little white part that's underneath his shoes or whatever, kind of the bottom part of his shoes. If you want some other suggestions for heads or something, if you want to try to do it differently, well, for first, you could use the source object of a biker maybe, or Dale if you want it to look a little bit more chubby and short. For the head, you could go with like an aircraft marshaller or an angler or maybe even golfer, but I really like the stadium vendor for this, again, for all the reasons that we were talking about before with the colors and things like that. I used an egg and a scorpion. You can actually take a piece of a scorpion tail for the hairs kind of sticking out underneath his cap. If you want to have this eyebrow right here, you can do it how I had it just a second ago, where it shows the bags underneath his eyes, because Dipper does have these kind of little lines underneath his eyes. That actually, you just probably saw we ran out of stamp space, so this last piece right here is going to be the final stamp piece. For those who don't know, Scribblenauts Unlimited does have its limits. You can only use a certain number of pieces or objects to create your main object, and these are called stamps, so we have run out of stamp space. Anyway, while I'm doing this part, the properties or scripting editor, I like to read background information or fun facts about whatever it is we are creating. So the Gravity Falls series follows the adventures of Dipper Pines, voiced by Jason Ritter, and his twin sister Mabel, who's voiced by Kristen Shaw, in the fictional town of Gravity Falls, Oregon. It was actually started as an 11-minute low-budget student film by the series creator, Alex Hirsch, which he was making while he was at the California Institute of the Arts. He was then called in to do a pitch for Disney for the show, and Disney bought the idea and showed the first episode in the summer of 2012. So we'll talk a little bit about Dipper since we're creating him here first. Dipper Pines is a curious and adventurous 12-year-old from Gravity Falls who is constantly exploring the mysteries of this summer home. Because I haven't watched the show, I have to go off of the research that I've done, and as I understand it, Dipper is basically a smart adventurer who is very protective of his twin sister. He often acts as the leader when he and his sister are adventuring, and he knows the importance of having a camera to document paranormal findings, etc. Because of an episode called Carpet Diem, I noticed that he actually had a habit of clicking his pen repeatedly when he's having a deep thought, and so I made that a part of his scripting by basically having him wait 180 frames after being attacked to shoot a pen as a projectile. I'll try to incorporate some of his other quirks as well, of course, while we're scripting. Like right here, he's going to use cameras and protect family. We'll give him his name in Scribblenauts right now, Dipper Pines. You can see see that I made 2 triangles and a letter I as the little tree logo that's on top of his hat. But we're gonna move on now. We don't want the male artist. Let's go ahead and type in artist, and yes, get the female artist right here. This is what we were looking for. We're gonna create Mabel Pines, color it accordingly right here. On the collar part, you could use like this spider webby color or the zebraic pattern, or maybe this pattern that I've used, and then color that the pink as well. It's supposed to show kind of the lines right there, and we don't have to use any stamp space to create those lines in her collar for her sweater. For the source object, you know, the body, of course, we've used the female artist. You could use a cleric, the female cleric, or Kaori Slakska, if you want to do that. Now, for the head, we've used Erica Tringali. You could also try the girlfriend head. I like this a little bit better. We're going to have to add a headband to it. We've taken a female athlete for the legs right there and colored it accordingly right here. You could possibly use Zachary Franks or a female druid for the legs if you want to, but I'm sure there's others that you might want to use too if you don't like how the female athlete looks, but I like how this looks right here. And the good thing about this source object of the female artist is that we've actually got one line already in for the rainbow that's on her shirt. And so, and by rainbow, I should say this like rainbow star shooting comet, you know, so we have put a star down right there, and then use headband for the other little bars of the rainbow. Circle, once again, is going to be the big white part of her eyes, and that's probably what we'll do for most of the characters, if not all of them. A headband is going to actually be her little headband, so it's using it for its intended purpose, right? That's the beauty of Scribblenauts Unlimited, is like you can use, you know, a croissant for teeth, or like, you know, just any sort of object that looks like something you can use for multiple purposes. A dot will be the nose, once again, for Mabel, but this time, you know, she doesn't have a dark nose, dark flesh nose like Dipper does. Just like with Dipper as well, we've used the pimple twice for the little pupils in her eyes. Now, if you're on the 29-page library, on the 4th page, that's what we've done for this little arm-looking shape. It's an arm that's at the bottom of the 4th page on that 29-page library. That's going to be her mouth. We'll go ahead and make I, the letter I, as her teeth, just like with Dipper. The 29-page library is something that I use pretty much almost every episode, so definitely become acquainted with it, use it, it's your friend. It's got lots of useful little stamps. So whisker is going to be the little eyelashes. You can also type in eyelash if your game is not glitchy. A lot of Wii U versions, they glitch and they show a little eye, as in an eyeball. So yes, we used the neck piece of a crane and painted it kind of a dark green color, or kind of off green. That's used for her braces that are in the eye, that are right next to the letter I should say. On top of the letter I, that's what I'm trying to say. So eyebrow you can use right here, kind of as her cheek, you know, if you want it to look like that. I'm not going to do that. I feel we could use other stamps and things like that, and it sort of is throwing me off of my design right now. So I use 2 dots as her little rosy cheeks. You know, she's got kind of these orangish colored cheeks. But yes, we'll go over some quick fun facts about Mabel. Mabel Pines was born 5 minutes before her twin brother Dipper, I guess, and she is voiced by a great female comedian, Kristen Schaal, as I mentioned before. From what I know, she seems to be energetic and free-spirited, and she also has a pet pig named Waddles, so I'll definitely be sure to script her to show a heart emotion emoticon when she sees pigs, or it'll probably have to be farm animals, because you have to use a generic category whenever you're doing these scriptings and stuff. So let's go ahead and type in a pig to see if that script works out. The great thing about her voice actor, Kristen Schaal, is that she was not only Mel in Flight of the Conchords, but you probably know her as, you know, the little Triceratops in Toy Story 3. She's just great. She's got a hilarious voice. We're going to move on to another character, CIBELE, or maybe it's CIBELE Leon. You know, that's basically this person right here, CIBELE Leon. We're going to use her as the source object. You could probably use some others, but I really like how this one turned out. We're going to be creating Wendy Corduroy. This one, it's great. We're going to take this pattern of the checkerboards right there. They should be a little bit thinner. You know, you could probably use other patterns and things like that you might like, that, you know, fit your tastes, I guess we should say, but I really like how this is going to turn out, you know, with the, we've got this like checkerboard pattern, but then we painted it sort of that off green color. And Erica Tringali is going to be the head again for Wendy, just like we did for Mabel. And it's not that they necessarily have the same hair or anything like that, but what is similar between the two characters is that they have really long hair. And so I know that, you know, Wendy has longer hair than this even. It's just Scribblenauts, you know, it's, you kind of have to work with the different stamps that are in this game. You don't exactly have that level of customization all the time, but we do the best we can. We're going to create her little lumberjack hat right here with this 4th page of the 29-page library arm to be the little flap on the side. And then mozzarella is that black part, and chicken nugget. This is like a very food-themed section of the creation right here. Chicken nugget, that's going to be the top little flap of her hat that comes forward. Now, you can create, I would say, two different Wendy's for the eyes right here. Oftentimes, her hair is seen covering one of her eyes. That would be her left eye, but it would be to our right. So if you want to use a hemisphere instead for that particular eye, you could do that, so it's kind of like a half of the eye shape being covered up by the hair. We've used Kenpo for the legs. You could probably use various different Maxwell brothers or anything kind of with skinny legs, because Wendy does, she's very tall and skinny and slender, and so I just typed in boots and colored them with this crazy dirty pattern, and we used an egg for her nose and a cat tail for her mouth. Freckles, we're typing in freckles, and then I'm going to use pimples, which are also the pupils, of course, just like we've done for all the other characters. I'm going to use pimples to do the other freckles because they're actually so high up on her face, they're like underneath her eyes, basically, in the way that they're done. So we'll just kind of have those two pimples right there to show it off. And then a chicken nugget, once again, for her ear, as well as another pimple that's painted kind of a blue-gray color for her earring. And dot will be the last stamp. That's, we have run out of stamp space officially right now. That dot is just kind of the button on her sleeves. Wendy Corduroy is what we'll name her. And on to the background information or fun facts. I like Wendy, or full name as I've been saying, Wendy Blurble Corduroy. She's a laid-back teenager and one of the other main characters in Gravity Falls. I know that in lieu of working, she often is seen shirking her responsibilities for activities that she enjoys more, such as hanging out with her crazy friends or going on adventures with Dipper and Mabel. I've designed her with her lumberjack hat on and without her name tag. She does wear her name tag while she's at work, and I figured it's not really worth using the stamp space for something that she isn't always wearing, but feel free, of course, to do it differently in your game if you want to. This is a differentiation between the two Wendy's that I was saying you could create, that one over there on the right now that we're picking up. That's the one that has the hemisphere and things like that for covering up a portion of her eyes. You don't have to do it that way, just do it if you want to, if you like that look better. I personally kind of like this one that I just grabbed, the one that I showed you for the tutorial. So this object I'm really proud of. This is gonna be Stan Pines, or Grunkle Stan. This is awesome. He's got huge ears, so of course we just typed in ear twice and made the ears huge. There's a tassel up on the top of his hat. The hat is just Fez, so if you type in F-E-Z, that's Fez. That is kind of what he's wearing. He's got that tassel. That's what I just showed off right there. There's a circle that's kind of for the top of the tassel. And so what do we got? The white part that's sort of like the goggles or glasses for his eyes is this right here. You see in the top left corner that I'm trying to show off. On the 23rd page of the 29-page library, it's that, arm that's in the top right corner for that. So it's this piece right here that I'm touching and highlighting. See, it looks like that normally without the colors, but I colored it white, not the bleach white, but mostly white. And so this right here, it's his eyebrows. That's just a piece of a tornado. Now, they don't look exactly like that in the show. The reason for the tornado was so that I was going to use a goose, the wing of a goose. But unfortunately, there's a little black dot that I just didn't like how that appeared. And so I think that these will be fine. The tornado. We've taken a guava is the nose. So Grunkle Stan's big reddish nose is a guava. And so let's see. We've also got the rabbit body. You just take the body part of the rabbit, and that's going to be his grayish chin. So that's sort of like the first thing that I put down, and then build everything else around it. Of course, his eyes, just like all the other characters, we did a circle for the back part, painted completely white, and then pimple for the pupils. And right next to his ear that I just moved is the goose wing. So that's for his little gray hair that's sticking out. It looks like it's underneath his glasses or whatever. And then I've just moved his mouth right there. If you take away the color, it's a schnitzel. Yes, I will help you with the spelling for that. Schnitzel is S-C-H-N-I-T-Z-E-L. That's for the mouth. And then, of course, the letter I is the teeth. We've got moccasins for his shoes. That's M-O-C-C-A-S-I-N. That would be moccasin. That's going to be his two shoes. You could probably find some other shoes too if you don't like how those look, or go with the Utapam again. President was the source object, as well as the arms. So that torso and the arms right there, that's just president. It looks like Barack Obama in a suit. And so we'll make objects react to him as an uncle. And why not just have we'll give him a lot of health and things like that. Let's go ahead and actually read the fun facts or background information, I guess more so on him. Stanford Stan Pines, otherwise known as Stetson Pinefield, Hal Forrester, Andrew 8-Ball Alcatraz. The stage name of Mr. Mystery, and perhaps what I see very commonly, is the familial nickname of Grunkle Stan. So you could name him any of those names if you want. I just called him Stan Pines. But yes, feel free to name him accordingly in your game. But anyway, he is the great uncle, or Grunkle uncle of Dipper and Mabel, and I know that he likes making money, and he runs the Tourist Trap Mystery Shack, and so I've actually created him with the scripting to shoot out money and use money. Coins is what he shoots out, and then specifically money is what he will use in the behaviors. So now we've got Seuss. This is sort of like hearkening back to the previous episode that I did, which was Futurama. We used the headpiece that we have right here for Seuss. Thor is the arms, but that headpiece is the upper thigh, upper leg part in the back of the Pachycephalosaurus. Yes, that will have to be spelled out on screen because I don't expect anybody to spell that one just right off the top of their head. We're going to do question mark, of course, for the big question mark that's on his shirt. Golem was the source object. Chicken nugget for the nose. The little 29-page library Pac-Man looking mouth, which we also used for Grunkle Stan's hat logo, the fish head or whatever. That sort of weird shape is actually the wing of a tooth fairy, and it's in the 29-page library. It's like a white little Pac-Man open mouth shape, and that is his mouth, of course, as you see here. An eyebrow is his double chin, with the whisker being the hair coming out of that. The neck piece of a crane, the middle neck piece of crane is the teeth, and we did that twice. We're also going to use that for kind of the little hair spots that are on his face as well. So Blake Leon is his legs. That's something I forgot to mention. So Blake Leon. Looks like we're out of stamp space, so this is going to be it right here. The circle eyes again, and the pupil is pimple, and hat for the hat. And Seuss Ramirez. He's like a young adult child. He's worked at the Mystery Shack in Gravity Falls since he was 12. He likes video games and says that he actually learned, everything that he needs to know from video games, but among many other things that he likes. And he likes to also hang out with Dipper and Mabel, often accompanying them on their adventures. He's hilarious and lovable, and he definitely looks a little bit goofy with his question mark shirt and his buck teeth. His obsession with pressing the cackling skulls at the Summerween Superstore is why I will script him to shoot out a skull projectile whenever he's attacked. But look at this, we've got everybody right here. We've got, I would say everybody as far as the sort of main cast that I see. I basically just Googled Gravity Falls because I didn't know hardly anything about the show. But it actually seems like, it seems like a good cartoon out there nowadays, so I especially won't diss it without seeing it. I'm very interested, though, after just kind of reading about the Gravity Falls characters for the purposes of this commentary. Yes, I am definitely interested. So before I sign off, I do, of course, want to thank everybody for the wonderful support in the comments, and I am moved into our new apartment. We were moving, as I said in the last episode, so thank you for bearing with me as we were absent for 1 week. But we're back! Thank God. I'm exhausted, though. I don't know if anybody can tell in my voice or not. I'm trying to keep the energy here, but I am exhausted from all the moving and working and everything that I have to do. I'm always busy, so yeah. Before signing off, though, I did just want to say some commonly requested things are like Link, Charizard, Mega Man, Mario, Sonic, and I've got to tell you, I've created all of these. I also created Ness and Lucas back in the day, as well as Mewtwo, and so, of course, for their recent announcements in Smash Brothers and Mewtwo recently coming out, they were created long ago, so please check the channel, my channel, or the series playlist for this series, and you'll be able to catch all of those. But as always, I will catch you on the next vid, and thank you so much for viewing. So you can be the viewer and...
down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins. I've been down the road of